Something that I keep forgetting to do at the beginning or end of these stupid videos is I have other YouTube channels for stuff that isn't related to old computers. The main, like, other random stuff channel, it used to be called the OCF Soylent Sideshow, but I renamed it to Polecat and a Poke after my previous YouTube channel that was basically shut down because it discussed gun content, which YouTube didn't like. So they basically demonetized everything and shadow banned that channel after I made a pro-Brexit comment years and years ago. It was nuts. It wasn't, and there was a video where that I filmed about working on a wall in a house, and they didn't even bother to like realize that that's what it was about. I guess they just assumed that it was about a border wall and like deleted the video. That was back during the worst days of YouTube censorship, but it pissed me off so much that I stopped YouTubing for a long time. And when I did finally come back, it was with the old computer shit, because I figured that was a little more politically viable than more interesting things. But anyway, so I renamed my like random shit channel after that channel, because I'm going to try to get this old subscribers from that channel to come to the new one, because it's not banned. So if you, like a lot of this trailer shit is probably going to go on that other channel, because this is only very tangentially like old computer related. So if you wanna subscribe to that, if you're actually interested in this bullshit, if you on YouTube, if you go to the about this channel thing, there will be a bunch of playlists and stuff listed on like the main channel page, and all the way down at the bottom there's a list of some of my other channels and stuff, and you can go join them from there. There is also an ancient channel that I haven't uploaded to for probably a decade, where I was like recording traditional hymns on a like 120-year-old organ and uploading them, and I may get back to that someday. But that's certainly not everyone's cup of tea. But I just wanted to mention it because, you know, reasons and all that shit. And I've also got a channel about tabletop role-playing games. That's my, well, I don't know, since the old computer stuff got all kind of like infested with left-wing extremists. I guess the gaming thing is my favorite hobby now, beyond not old computers, but tabletop role-playing games. I have a little channel for that. I haven't really uploaded anything to it for a long time. I have most of everything that was ever published for Classic Traveler, and the original plan was to like review every one of those products, like every single one of them. It would take like probably 20 years if I did one a week or something like that, but still, you know, like it would be interesting maybe. But yeah, there's that too. So, you know, decide what, if anything, you probably can't even hear me over this rain now, but decide what, if anything, you think you would enjoy, and please join me on those other channels if you wish. It would be based, as the kids say these days. On the Odyssey side of things, I've considered getting rid of Odyssey because I think Soros bought it, which is a little weird, and Rumble isn't very viable, so I guess I'm going to keep it, but yeah, on the Odyssey side of things and on the Rumble side of things, when I actually start uploading there, I created the channel and I haven't really uploaded anything there. But on that side of things, I'm just going to put everything on one channel, because I don't think there's any like algorithmic bullshittery that needs to go on there to like, I mean, nobody's going to see that stuff organically anyway, you know what I'm saying? So I don't need to try to game any algorithms by having like focused content on those platforms, I don't think. Anyway, whatever. I guess it doesn't really matter. It's kind of stupid of me to even try to attract viewers anyway, because, you know, I tried to do that with my old channel and I got my ass burned and it pissed me off, and it wasn't worth putting all of that effort into it and then having the rug pulled out from under you for like basically no reason. I never said anything even remotely terrible about anything, but you know, it wasn't the approved thought process, I suppose. So that was that. Anyway, sorry for the rant. I will now actually talk about the trailer, which is why I came out here to begin with. Even though I'm recording this in the future and splicing it into the beginning. Well, you know, blah, whatever. Okay, here it is. Alright, you gotta put up with the shitty phone audio. Sorry. Big rain is over. It wasn't all that big a rain. It was all blowing in from this direction, so it's possible that it all blew off and didn't come in on this side. I do not feel any damp up here along that. Although that may have been, no, that couldn't have been coming in around the door. It wouldn't have gotten that far. See, this thing was painted at some point. You can see on the back door it had some racing groups on it. So I assume they hauled a race car around in this thing. So maybe that paint sealed up whatever was leaking before. Although I'm sure it leaks around these doors where this seal's fucked up. And here is why this corner of the floor rotted out. How did I not see that yesterday? That should be very easy to fix, though. Yep. That's how they get you. But this is all like, this isn't a linear timeline, this video. I've gone back and forth, splicing things willy-nilly back and forth. This is the latest recording, but it rained again and I just hung out in here and surfed and shit like that. And I mean, aside from where it blew in from the door open, it hasn't leaked up here where I thought it would a bit. There's nothing in any of these corners, nothing coming around where this thing's sealed on here. Nothing back here other than that tail light. I think I'm just gonna do the roof and paint the sides, and I mean, I ought to seal the roof anyway. It is, 23 years old. And I think that'll fucking do it, man. It's not attached to these. The roof isn't attached to these rafters. It's just crimped together along these seams, and it's just one piece that's only attached along the sides and in the front and in the back, and every so often in the middle here. So if this was leaking, we'd be able to tell. And I think if I get up there and I pull the Dicor off of all these screw heads and I seal the whole roof. See, Dicor makes a liquid rubber product specifically for sealing roofs like this. Metal roofs on cargo trailers and older RVs. And you prime it with some kind of stuff, and then you put the sealant on top of that, and it's supposed to last. It's guaranteed for like 25 years or something. And then I'll just go down to the sides to the drip rail there, right, and seal all of that with that stuff, and that ought to like be good to go. And then the sides, if they even need sealed, I could just paint them. It would be nice to have it painted a little better anyway. Let me expound upon some of my thoughts that I posted in some comments on one of the last videos on Odyssey. I was thinking about painting it about the same color as the van, at least on the sides. I want to leave the roof white because, that'll keep it from getting so hot. But maybe a little bit lighter tan on the sides just because it would help it blend into the woods a little better. Like if I stretch a ghillie net around the whole thing, right? With that light, with a light tan in the back behind it. That would probably one of those plastic ones, not one of those fancy ones that's actually made out of grass. But that would camouflage it pretty well. And I could take that off, and the tan would hopefully still be light enough to, not trap a bunch of heat. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. I don't know. It needs painted anyway. It was the paint job is not great. I mean, I'm sure it's fine, mechanically, but it doesn't look very good, right? But then for the inside, I talked before about furring this out a little bit. And I was thinking about insulation types, and if I furred it out, I could probably use fiberglass insulation, but I hate that stuff. But I don't know, maybe the foam board insulation isn't as bad as I think, and I could take an inch foam board and split it down the center and shove it, between here and push it back. And then I'd have to have a little strip down before I put the furring on. And then in between the furring, a 3/4 inch piece of foam board over top of those other pieces of foam board. I could just glue it all up there, not a lot of glue, just enough to hold it up there until I put the sheathing on the wall, right? And then the ceiling, if it did trap a little bit of moisture, this is aluminum, so it's not gonna rust. And these studs, they're pretty thick. If I painted them good, hopefully they wouldn't rust too bad. And if they did from some condensation, it wouldn't really make a shit. But most of the condensation, I think, will be on the roof. And it is galvanized, so it would eventually rust if there was something up here, trapping moisture against it. So I think even though it's a little bit spendy, I've already got a roll of the stuff anyway. I might use Thinsulate for the roof because it doesn't trap moisture against a lot of other insulation does. And then hopefully that would keep all this galvanized stuff from rusting at all, and where I couldn't see it. If it rusts from the outside in, I'll be able to see the rust starting and do something about it. But if it rusts through on the inside from condensation where I cannot see, then I won't know until there's a hole in the roof, and that would be very unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? And then, I'm not going to put any wiring or plumbing or anything like that inside of the walls. I may leave the wiring for the actual trailer lights inside of the wall because that's a completely separate thing, but there's nothing worse than having to tear shit apart in order to change your electrical or plumbing setup, right? So I was gonna have cabinets along both sides anyway, right? So I figured, because the wall sheathing, I don't want to have to deal with this fucking bend, you know what I'm saying? I can just make a cabinet here, and then I won't have to deal with this, sheathing this, you know what I'm saying? But if I have those cabinets up there, then I can just put a wire mold in the back of the cabinet or something and have some holes for drops in the bottom of the cabinetry. And then I can just, go along and put a drop down wherever I need power to the bench on both sides or wherever then, right? And then I could change things around really easily because I'm sure that the way I do it the first time isn't going to be the way that I actually want to do it. I'll have to redo shit 100 times because I'm a fucking spurg or something, right? So I don't know. What do you think? Is that a dumb idea or a good idea? I'm not going to have a toilet in it because, well, anyone on the Discord server knows my opinion of indoor plumbing. It was a mistake. We never. Who in their right mind would shit in the same place where they eat and sleep? That's disgusting. We should all be using Johnny houses. It is the sanitary solution. You don't have to scrub toilets when it gets dirty. You just tip it over on its side with a tractor bucket and power wash it and stand it back up and you're done. It's the way. You can run electricity to them and have an electric heater that you can turn on from the house unless you got like a real dire emergency, you know. It's not like, I mean, it's a little cold on the bottom, you know, of course, but it's not like you're like freezing your nutsack off, you know, shitting when it's like 32 degrees or something, you know what I mean? And indoor plumbing is a mistake. It's what led to, you know, like all of the Victorian age diseases, like people shitting in their houses or under their houses into their cesspools, and it leaked into the water supply and all this. Who wants all that? Big mistake. Return to monkey. All right, that's the end of that rant. You know what this could be? If this trailer was parked in the same, like, compass orientation for years and years and years, the sun would hit one side of the trailer but not the other, which might mean that most of the condensation on the trailer would occur on one side, or one, perhaps, like, corner area like this, right? And maybe that's why, maybe this is all from condensation and not from an actual, like, water leak. I don't know. That's a lot of, well, if it condensated, it would do so up high and run down. It would condense along an edge like this, right? So maybe that's what it really was. I don't know. You know, the whole trailer is sloped this way. There's a very slight incline here, and I need to raise the ball on Chester a little bit too. Actually, I'm probably going to do an axle flip on this thing to give it like a 3-inch lift, and then Chester's getting a 3-inch lift, so it ought to all about equal out in the end. But because this will have slightly bigger tires on it. Or, no, actually, that would go the opposite way I want, so I will have to put a little taller hitch on. Anyway, whatever. What I was going to say before I got distracted is, even though the thing's like leaning this way, that made me figure that a bunch of water would run in where these door seals are fucked up on this back door. But it hasn't a bit. There's a big drip rail on the outside that covers that whole space, and it's just keeping any of the water from seeping in around that door. I'm sure a little bit would blow in, but yeah, I think all of the ingress of water over here was through that fucking tail light. That's what did that. Man, I think the thing's solid. I think this was a really nice trailer back in its day. I mean, aluminum, you know, and like 16-inch studs. Is that even, that can't be less than 16 inches, but the studs are real close together. It's really well built. It's not, I mean, some of these enclosed trailers, you know, they'll have like 36-inch fucking studs in the things, you know what I'm saying? And it's like made out of metal, like legit, like real fucking metal. I'm a little dubious about a metal roof, but I guess, you know, the rubber roofs aren't any better. I think a metal roof with rubber over top of it would be the superior. I mean, if the rubber was bonded to the metal so it didn't like rust underneath the rubber, you know what I'm saying? I think that would be the superior roof. And that's what we're gonna have after I reseal the roof anyway. Okay,